Hello everybody and welcome back to my channel, and today I'm going to be doing World Cup preview and predictions, and this is going to be a sort of series. I'm just going to be doing the predictions for the pool stages, so Pool A, Pool B, Pool C, Pool D. I will be doing four videos, one on each. It will just be predictions for the pool stages, and then once they're over I will do the predictions for the quarterfinals, semis and the main final itself, which is going to be a really hard task considering how close it's going to be this year. So in this video I will be doing my previews of the teams and predictions of the teams that are in Pool A. Those teams consisting of the host nation Japan, Scotland, Ireland, Samoa and Russia. Now this is a big group. Well, 4 teams I can see in this group are going to be challengers, and it's going to be quite a close group, so let's get straight into it. The first team I'm going to say is Russia. Now Russia, they got very lucky with qualification. They weren't supposed to be here technically, but they got here off the fact of Spain, Romania and Belgium all got handed points downgrades because of the fiasco that went on with the referee being Romanian reffing the Spain-Belgium game, which was the game that would inevitably send Spain to the World Cup, but it didn't happen. They all got points downgrades for that fiasco, and Russia were the ones to pick up the pieces and get into the World Cup. Now ever since this has been announced, and as soon as Russia were announced that they'll be in the World Cup, Lynn Jones, former coach of Dragons, took over the job and is now head coach of Russia. Lynn Jones, he is a very, I don't know how to put it, he's not the best coach in the world. He wasn't brilliant for Dragons, although they weren't the best team anyway. And yeah, I think this job could save him as a coach, because if he does well in this World Cup with Russia and they play brilliant rugby and shock maybe some teams, then this will help him so much with his career, and he could even stay with Russia or maybe get jobs higher up in the nations or in club rugby. But this is going to be a struggle. You look at the group Russia have, you look at their fixtures list that they have, this is going to be a dogfight for them to even get any bonus points, any try bonus, losing bonus at all. And I don't see them doing well at all. They're so fragile at the back in the defensive line, and they're just going to be pile drived by teams, I can imagine. I feel like the team that they will target the most is probably Samoa. They can probably see Samoa and think we can score some tries against them, we can give them a game, especially with the style of rugby they play. They're so attacking. They play a style of we score more than they score, which is not very defensive, it's just very attacking. So you could see them scoring tries, but their defence, especially with other teams in this group, I don't see them doing very well. Yeah, so I don't think Russia will do very well. They have got decent players though. They've got 8 players from the last time they were in the World Cup in 2011. They've still got the likes of Andrei Ostrakov, who is a former Sail Sharks second rower. He's good over the ball, he can help him in that aspect, in that area in the ruck. They've also got Artemiev, who is the captain. I don't know if I've said that right, but he can give them utility and hopefully help them to achieve their goals, which will inevitably be hopefully to get a win, a maiden win in this World Cup. But unfortunately I do not see them getting anywhere near a win. I don't think they are good enough to get a win, especially against the other teams in this group. So inevitably I am putting them and thinking that they will finish last in this group with 0 points, no victories. Sorry Russia fans. Anyway, on to the next position, 4th place, who will have to re-qualify for the next tournament in 2023, and in 4th place I'm going to put Samoa. Samoa are hard to predict because you don't know what they're going to do. They've got, like any other Pacific nation, they are a good team, a good side, they play good rugby. You know, they're very attacking, they've got big power in their ranks, so they could shock people, but I think they're fragile. They are fragile. Defensively, I don't think they're brilliant, and if you have a look at what their warm-up games were like, they weren't amazing. They didn't do too well in the Pacific nations. They lost to Japan, they lost to Fiji, games that you would expect them to play well in, and they weren't really that they weren't very good in those games. They then had the game against Australia, their last warm-up game, where they lost, but it wasn't a convincing loss, which would be good for someone like Samoa, who are kind of left in the dark in this World Cup. No one's really looking at them that much, so you never know, they could come up trumps, you never know, and they could shock teams, but I just don't see them doing that. They've got 37-year-old Tusi Pisi. He's a bit old now. He's going to bring experience, of course, but I feel like he's too old for this scene. He's too old for it. They've also got Tim Nanai Williams, who is very attack-minded, very power-driven as well. He's a very key player for them. And, of course, Captain Chris Vui, who is going to be brilliant. He's a brilliant player. If he plays well, Samoa will inevitably play well. I don't think Samoa will have as poor of a tournament as they did in 2015. I think they are better than that. They have gone past the financial troubles that they had. They are a better team than they were back then. But I still don't see them getting scalps against the likes of Scotland, Ireland, maybe even Japan. That's why I put them in fourth. They lost to Japan in England 4 years ago. I see him losing to Japan at home. I mean, it's host nation, so that's more onus for Japan to go and win that game, and I think they will beat Samoa. And yeah, so inevitably I'm putting Samoa in fourth place. Now, this one's going to be a shock. In third place of the World Cup Pool A, and to, well, re-qualify 4 years away, I am going with Scotland. Scotland to finish third, yes, I said it. Now this is risky, very risky, but there's something about Scotland this year which I'm not too sure about. I don't think they are convincing, they haven't been consistent, they're just not there. I don't think they're as good as they were 4 years ago. Gregor Townsend came in after the last World Cup. He's done alright, but I don't think he's done as well. And if anything, he's made them less consistent. Now, they win at home, but they don't win away. I know that won't matter too much in a World Cup, but when you've got the host nation in your group, and a host nation who is inevitably going to bring shocks to the cards, and will aim this Scotland game as the one that they think will be the one that could get them into the quarters, it's gonna be tough, really. And yeah, funnily enough, I don't see them beating Japan. I think they will lose to them because of that away record, and I feel like Japan will take a scalp out the Scottish side. Not that Scotland are going to play particularly poor, because I think they're a very good side, and they're sort of all round. I mean, they've got John Barkley, he's a very good player. Captain Stuart McAnally, he's a good power runner, good ball carrier, and over the ball as well. He's all-rounder, really. And then you've got the backs. But what I feel with Scotland is they rely too much on the likes of Finn Russell. They rely too much on the likes of Stuart Hogg. And I feel like if they don't play well, especially against that game against Japan and Ireland, then I don't see Scotland playing well. If Finn Russell's having a poor game, Scotland will have a poor game. That's where the creativity comes from Finn Russell. So really, it's pretty much Finn Russell, and if he doesn't have a good tournament, if he has a couple of bad games, if he gets an injury, how will Scotland cope with that? They have good finishers. They've got Darcy Graham, of course, brilliant finishers, but that's through the attack of the likes of Stuart Hogg and Finn Russell. So yeah, they're a very good team, very good players, and I wouldn't be surprised if they get to the quarterfinals. But if they're relying too much on Finn Russell, if they're relying too much on Stuart Hogg, John Barkley, Stuart McAnally, then I don't see them getting anywhere, because it's a team sport, and if they rely too much on certain players and they don't play well because of pressure or injury, Scotland will crumble. And the fact that they are technically playing away when they play Japan, that's also tough. So it's a shock, but I'm saying Scotland will finish third. Now second, this one's quite obvious. If I put Scotland third, it's obviously I'm going to put second. It's not Ireland, it's Japan. So I'm putting Japan second, and for them to get into their first ever quarterfinals in their own World Cup. Now that will be a scalp. That will be a dream. And Michael Leach has said this. He wants to get Japan as far as he possibly can. Michael Leach is the captain, of course, and I think he can. I think he can get into the World Cup quarterfinals. I believe he can. And really, Japan are actually a very good side. They wiped the floor clean in the Pacific Nations Cup earlier in the year, and with that, that will bring confidence. They may have lost 41-7 to South Africa a couple of weeks ago, but other than that, Japan are a very, very good team. Now, they're obviously used to shocks. We all remember South Africa in 2015 when they beat them, so they will be used to shocks. They'll want to provide upsets, and this is to show themselves. This is to show themselves as the up-and-coming team. And they can easily do that. They've got the players, they've got brilliant scrum halves that can just whip that ball out quickly out of the ruck and bring that creative and attacking intent to the team. And their attack is brilliant, their creativity is brilliant. The offloads, the passing, they could create tries out of nothing. And that is brilliant. Japan are such a nice team to watch on that stake, really. So yeah, Japan, I believe they can do it. Home World Cup. If they beat Scotland in the last game, which will be the one that they target, they can easily do it. No problem about it. And of course they will also look at that Ireland game and think, let's give a good game to Ireland. But the main thing that I think Japan need to do is start off well. If they can beat Russia in their opening game, then and beat them well, then they're looking good. They're looking fine. But if they struggle against Russia, not saying Russia are bad, but if they do struggle against Russia and win by a smaller margin or maybe even lose, I don't see them getting to this quarterfinals. But I'm going for it. I'm putting my neck on the line. I feel like Japan are going to finish second, and Jamie Joseph's men are going to have a dream home World Cup. Second place for Japan. Now this means that, of course, first place will go to Ireland. Now I think this one's obvious. I think Ireland will obviously get out of the group easily. I think they'll win all their games, straight into the quarterfinals, and easy said is done. And it's not going to be easy as I say it will, of course, because Japan, Scotland, even Samoa, tough games. They're going to have to get through them, and it's going to give them real good go forward, those games, for the quarterfinals. Because they're tough teams, beat them, and then it will give them good confidence. And I think Ireland have goodish confidence in the moment. They had that battering against England in the warm-ups, but those two games against Wales really showed them to be a strong team and favourites, one of the favourites, for the World Cup title. And they play a brilliant style of rugby. They're really good defensively. They hold strong. Their defence hasn't been brilliant this season. We saw that in the Six Nations. But it's starting to come back. Joe Schmidt is starting to bring back that defence. And that defence relies on the like of Omani turning the ball over. His bit, Rory Best putting his neck on the line for the last World Cup. And Ireland are very all-round. So I feel like they'll have a decent World Cup. Maybe get further than they've ever been before into the semi-finals. Thanks to the likes of their defence and their attacking prowess with Johnny Sexton, Conor Murray releasing the ball out. Bundy Aki bustling the ball up forward, shipping out to Stockdale and him finishing off a score. That is how Ireland will want to play, and I can see it working. I don't think this pool will be a breeze. They'll win every game, it won't be a breeze, but I think this pool stage for Ireland will show whether they are contenders or not. Don't play brilliantly, I don't see them as contenders. Play well, and I can. And it'll be brilliant if they do, of course. Captains Rory Best's and coach Joe Schmidt's last World Cup, last flourish on the international stage for the both of them, for Ireland. and they will want a send-off, and the Irish players and the Irish fans will want them to have that send-off. I think they will. I think they'll get quite far. Don't know how far. Of course, we'll see if they get to the quarterfinals in those predictions later on in the month. But yeah, I feel like Ireland will finish first. They'll do well in this in the pool stage, and yeah, Ireland to finish first. So that is my Pool A preview and predictions for the teams. In the next couple of days I will be doing Pool B, New Zealand, South Africa, Italy, Namibia and Canada. And then of course I'll do Pool C and Pool D. So yeah, they're my Pool A predictions and previews. Of course, I put Ireland to go through on top and Japan to come second, with Scotland being third, re-qualifying, and then Samoa and Russia being fourth and fifth. So yeah, thank you for watching everyone, and see you in a bit.